Hi, in this video, this is the second video of lesson 6.2, and basically what we're doing is we're talking about the difference between rational and radical exponent form, and we're just going to work on converting from radical to rational exponent form and then vice versa. So if you paid attention in the last video, you'll understand that if I have like a fourth root here, 5 to the fourth root, or what is the fourth root of 5, basically all I have to do is I need to take 5, whatever's inside the sign, and in this case there's only one thing, so parentheses not needed, although it doesn't hurt. You could always put parentheses around it if you want to, not necessary. And rather than have the fourth root, I'm going to say it's to the 1/4 power. Okay, so I'm not explaining that much, but that's because I did it kind of in the last video, okay, the pattern. So here's what we're going to do here, okay? Here's how it gets more complicated, is that if I have stuff inside the parentheses, I'm raising it to the third power, and then I'm also going to take the fourth root of it. How do we put those together? And then you'll also notice that I have a negative sign. The first thing I want to point out here in this example is the negative sign has nothing to do with the fourth root and has nothing to do with the cube. It's just a negative sign that's out in front. So we're going to have a negative sign out in front here, right? That's opposed to this example where the negative sign is kind of involved, right? It is involved with the fourth root, or with the fourth power here, and with the cube root, right? So it's going to be different there, okay? What I'm saying is, the first thing, if I look at this, is I'm going to take 5 and I'm going to cube it. That's the very first thing that happens in this expression. So we want to know, what we need to know is that the third power is involved with the fourth root, right? So we're going to write it like this, 5 to the third power, okay? And then what I did is I took that and I raised it to the 1/4 power, because that's what I do with the fourth root, just like I did over here. Now we have to know the properties of exponents, and this draws on lesson 6.1. See, I have a power raised to a power. And any time that I have a power raised to a power, I simply multiply the two exponents. So I take 3 times 1/4. The negative is still out in front, it has nothing to do with it, okay? And I have 5 raised to the 3 times 1/4 is just 3/4, okay? You multiply straight across with fractions. So I have 5 to the 3/4 power, a negative sign that's out in front that has nothing to do with the exponent, and that's my answer, okay? So that's kind of how you do it whenever you have powers raised to other powers. Here, in this third example, I have a negative sign that is definitely involved with the fourth power. So I have a -5 that's raised to the fourth power, and then I'm going to take all of that and I'm going to raise it to the 1/3 power, cube root it, right? And here I notice that I have a power raised to a power. And so I'm going to take this then, I'm going to take the -5, then I'm going to raise it instead to the 4 times 1/3. And on your calculator, it's 4/3. Now, let me show you this real quick, how I can do that if I'm not really for sure, if the fraction gets a little bit more difficult. I can take 4 times, and be careful, it's not 1/3, okay? That would work, but we want to be careful. We want to do 4 times parentheses 1/3. And it doesn't really make it doesn't make a difference in this problem, but it's a good habit to use parentheses when we're working with fractions, okay? 4 times 1/3 gives me this. Oh, sorry, I'm in scientific notation mode. Gives me this, 1.33333, right? And I can hit math right here, right below alpha, turn my answer into a fraction, hit enter, and I get 4/3 out of it, right? So that's kind of what we're doing here. So 5 to the 4/3, it's negative. So here's my answer, okay? And what you'll notice is if I type in a -5 and I raise it to the parentheses, notice my use of parentheses, the 4/3 power, okay? It actually gives me a positive value. That's because, remember, whenever we square a value, the negative goes away. Same thing happens with the 4th power, the 6th power, the 8th power. It's an even number. So technically, I could have dropped the -5. You know, it's whatever. Okay, you can drop the negative here. We're not going to worry about it for now. That's more like pre-calculus, college algebra level stuff that we're going to worry about that. So keep that in mind. We could say that it equals 5 to the 4/3 power because that negative sign is going to go away, but I'm not going to hound you on that for now. Okay. Over here, we got one more. You'll see that the negative is definitely involved in the cube root, so whenever we write this one, we need to make sure to use parentheses because the negative is going to get to the cube root as well, and I'm just going to raise it to the 1/3 power, and I'm done with that example. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense. My lights just came back on. Sorry about the flash and the change in light. Hopefully that makes sense. That's converting from radical to rational exponent form.